We will not discuss my uterus availability on a first date. Maybe I should have been more tactful or understanding. But I wasn't. And I don't feel particularly bad about it. I knew that dating again after my LTR would be challenging. But I didn't expect to hear these pathetic, rehearsed routines that sound like a testosterone-deficient AI chatbot. I've known this guy slightly for several years. We're in sort of adjacent friend groups. And he's nice looking in a way that isn't too intimidating. He seemed like a safe, friendly up until he immediately started babbling about wanting children, fishing, his values, family, babies, and fishing. Also fishing. I mentioned that I didn't have any children. And his response was, well, you could if you wanted, like, there's nothing physically stopping you. My response, see post title, didn't even faze him. And I just quietly filed him away as someone I had to tolerate until I could somehow excuse myself. Which I did with all haste. There is nothing, literally nothing, that kills attraction faster than opening a date with a recruiting pitch for a woman's uterus. You want to have a family? That's nice. I want a new inkjet printer and an electric car that doesn't need to recharge. What really grinds my gears is that I know there's some grimy dating coach out there. As usual, who's telling men that talking about babies makes our ovaries light up like Christmas trees for first date sex. It's insulting. And I'd almost rather a guy respectfully ask for sex on a first date. I really hope it gets better than this. Context: I'm 24. We walked on the beach for 30-40 minutes in a public place. Wait, does this guy like to fish? Tears of joy, tears of joy. Asking if you want kids someday is fine. Asking if your uterus is in good working order is not. If he wants kids and you don't, it's best to find out quickly so you can part ways and find partners whose wants align with yours. There probably is some lunatic dating coach giving that advice. But I think it's fair to ask about kids since it's a question that's usually asked on dating apps. But I guess he could have said it in a less weird way. It's a deal breaker for a lot of people. For the record, I'm woman that doesn't want kids. Yeah, I went on a first date with a guy before who talked about how he wanted 3 kids. I said that I didn't want to birth my own kids. And probably never will. But that I really want to foster kids once I'm older and more financially stable. I shit you not. He said, well, we can have 2 of our own and then you can foster one. On a first date. Unironically. This fucking idiot is telling me I am allowed to foster 1 child so long as I have 2 children for him first. Like, excuse me, no, get the fucking actual fuck away from me, you freak. It's weird to go into functional uterus talk on the first date. I agree. I could have simply asked about your life goals and shared his. Definitely awkward. Why did you reply I don't have kids instead of telling him what your stance on kids was? It's definitely invasive and lacks tact to ask if you are able to have kids on a first date, but it seems like you were being intentionally evasive about the topic. He shouldn't have asked, but it reads like maybe he realized mid-sentence that you might be avoiding talking about whether or not you want kids because you can't have kids and spoke without thinking. While most people don't dive into reproductive health on a first date, it's entirely normal to talk about if you're looking for the same things, including marriage and children. I guess I'm crazy for not seeing an issue with what he asked, loudly crying. Like, I can understand discussing if you have or want kids the first couple dates. It's a good way to tell if you are compatible on an important topic, but the way he said it was super weird. Yeah, I am all for broaching the topic of kids or no kids early on. I certainly did because I wanted them and do not believe in trying to change people's minds about it so we are either on the same page or not. But, wow. There are ways to go about that, and that was not it. It's like the guy that told me on a first date He would only have kids after sperm and egg had been genetically tested to make sure there was nothing wrong. Unless of course something went wrong in the uterus. I noped out of there after that conversation. Start asking him about his sperm motility rate. I'm not opposed to being forward on your desires for or against kids' marriage even on the first date. But not when you're 24 lol. Also, the way he went about it was ick. I feel like he just wanted to ask if you wanted kids and made it awkward with his phrasing. Typical first date stuff. Emo. Me want babies, female no sterile, womb fertile, yes? Communicating whether or not you want kids on a first date is completely acceptable. Going into details. Not necessarily. But the basics of do you want children at some point is entirely valid so that both people know right away if they're wasting their time. I'm assuming he wanted to know, though he could have definitely phrased it better so that he would know if it was worth another date or not. It does get better. Don't settle for this kind of entitlement. I am child-free and sterilized. When I was single and dating, I would present this info if I was interested in a possible serious relationship. Otherwise it was none of their business. I'm not an incubator. Woman shrugging. Edit to add, it's also very telling that he asked if you were capable of having children. Not if you wanted any. As if you don't have a choice in the matter. Maybe the way he worded it was a little weird. But it's perfectly reasonable to see if what you want aligns. Having kids is a deal breaker in a relationship. This is definitely first date territory. I want to know right away if a guy wants kids. I don't want to waste my time or his. But what about fishing? I actually respectfully disagree with this stance and think it's absolutely appropriate for someone to ask about children before the first date, if online dating or during the first date. We all have non-negotiables and it's okay to discuss this openly like adults. I'm not sure why you took his question as a recruiting pitch for your uterus. He's being genuine. And by saying that, he saved you and him a ton of time and money. It's much more efficient. I'm the one who brings it up on a first date because I want to make sure we're on the same page or not. It's very important, so I don't know why you got so mad about it. I never want kids. Finally got a hysterectomy, so hell yeah, I want to make sure the guy the first date is okay with that. He's basically saying, but you're not infertile, right? If you are, I am outta here. Which is incredibly rude, and I'm surprised some people here are defending it. Dude, I don't for the life of me understand what's wrong with this. He wants kids and was putting it out there. That's, like, important information. I want to know this stuff ASAP when I'm dating. Why waste my time otherwise? I'm sorry. I'm feminist too, but like, I don't understand what set you off. Downvote me. Ladies, I'm female. By the way, if it matters somehow, I'd actually appreciate seeing the bullet as early as possible so I can dodge it. Woman shrugging. Medium dark skin tone. I mean, people are allowed to want kids. It's pretty standard. He expressed it in a weird ass way. He is not the man you're looking for. Congratulations. Y'all saved yourself some time. Move on. The way he approached the subject was selfish and disrespectful. I imagine it feels objectifying as hell to be talked at like that. Personally, as someone who's child-free, I welcome someone to let me know right off the bat any further time we invest into each other will be a waste, unless it's just for friendship. But certainly not the way he went about it. He could have tried chatting about future goals, interests, and aspirations. It probably would have come up naturally. He gives ick. Rip. The way he put it was gross, but you should talk about that ASAP and not waste your time.